this is your host, Julia Napini. I am a clinical and forensic social worker who owns a counseling practice and a consulting business. In this show, we discuss the challenges of being successful in business while maintaining your integrity and staying true to yourself. Join me while I interview other professionals and share insights from life and experience. Let's talk about RingRx, our latest sponsor. RingRx is a high-quality, HIPAA-compliant telephone, text, and fax communications platform. They provide seamless, cost-effective communications for behavioral therapists, medical practices, hospitals, and other healthcare providers. RingRx is designed for modern healthcare environments. They offer customizable features like a phone app, automated patient outreach, voicemail, after-hours call routing, and top-quality desk phones. Try RingRx for free today at ringrx.com. And if you sign up using the code CLIMB, you'll get 15% off your monthly bill forever. Conditions apply. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Compassionate Climb podcast. My guest and I are all warmed up. We just had a few technical difficulties first thing in the morning, but we worked out the kinks. So yes, I am here today with the traveling therapist, Kym Tolson, and we're going to talk all about her journey and how she got to be doing the work that she is doing remotely, creatively, so that you can learn how to do it too. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. We did have a technical issue, but we got it working. And I was joking. I was just going to say, I was joking being a traveling therapist. It's like the bane of my existence is like literally it's the Wi-Fi and every place is quirky. And then it's technology, just trying to get stuff to work from place to place, setting up these makeshift offices like I'm in right now. Like I've dragged a desk into a bedroom and I'm trying to like make sure it doesn't look wild.
Yeah. So this is the reality of what it can be like and some of those challenges that we don't allow to get in the way. We just learn to work with it and be flexible. So Let's do what we got to do.
Okay.
So give everyone a little bit of background. What's relevant to your career climb that sets the stage for the work that you're doing right now?
Well, I used to have a brick-and-mortar office. I love to travel. So I was taking like 8 weeks of vacation a year. So I would like see a ton of clients. I'd cram them all in and then I would take a trip and then I'd come back and I'd do the same thing over again. And I eventually ran into Amber Lyda, who's like the online therapist guru back in 2018. And she had a course to take your practice online. I was like, there's no way people are practicing online. Like this is obviously before COVID. And I was like, yes, you could do it. So I took Amber's course and, became all online, but I was just like living still in Richmond, Virginia, where I lived at the time. And then eventually I was like, wait, I mean, I literally could just do this from anywhere. So my boyfriend and I, like, he could work remotely. So we were like, let's just go, so we sold everything. We both had houses. We literally sold everything. We went down to Hollywood, Florida. That was our first stop. And we got there like literally like a week before the pandemic hit. So of course they were like grounded, but at least we were like oceanfront, Hollywood, Florida. We had a beautiful view there and everything. So we were kind of stuck a little bit for 2 years, both working remotely, which was great. And then in 2022, we were like, let's just not be anywhere. Like, let's just pack our cars and just go from Airbnb to Airbnb. So we did that. So we're doing that. We've been doing that for almost 4 years now. We just literally live in Airbnbs. And this evolved into like, okay, now I have to teach other people how to do this because that's who I am. Like anything I'm doing that I think is cool and other people would like to do, I like have to create something around it. So I was like, let me create the traveling therapist. So I started a Facebook group and now it's grown to, we just hit 28,000 traveling therapist members yesterday, which just blows my mind. We just like literally just go from Airbnbs and I help people figure out how to do it wherever they want to do it is sort of my thing. Yeah.
That's amazing. So I really admire this ability to blend two parts of your world and find a way to make it work and to kind of nurture each of those passions. And then you find a partner that also shares a lot of that same desire to explore the world and you've made it work. And I can totally relate to something that really resonates with you, and you figure it out, and then you want to share it with everybody that you can.
Yeah.
And so obviously you found created a great community of people that share that love. So give us an idea, if you were to zoom out, how much of the world have you been able to see throughout this phase in your life?
Oh my gosh, just about every Caribbean island, pretty much every town in Florida, because he does have his job is in IT, and he's like on contract. So a lot of his contracts require him to stay in the United States. So, we've basically been across the United States, I think 4 times at this point, like driving, just stopping at random towns, and there's still like so many places we want to go to. I've been all over Europe, Italy, Portugal, able to take my practice with me and still see clients. I really don't see clients anymore now. I'm more like coaching. I've got like really 15 different income streams that I have going on all at the same time. So that has allowed me to get out of that one-to-one model. And I really don't see clients anymore, but I can still take my business on the road with me, anywhere I'm going, and have meetings like this, and make money, and help others. So it's really cool. Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so let's start with the time when you were seeing clients briefly.
Okay.
Anything that you think is important for anybody to hear out there that would be considering taking their private practice on the road? So my understanding is that it's much more about where the client is at the time of session than where the therapist is. But anything else people should be thinking about logistically if they are planning to do what you did?
I mean, that's really the first step, is just figuring out, can I even do this? Can I see my clients remotely? And you're correct. Most states say as long as the client is physically located in the state at the time of the session, it's fine to do that. Now, there's other nuances. Sometimes there's states that you could be sitting in that do not want you to provide services back to your state of licensure. So like Texas used to be one of them. Texas, for LCSWs, it used to be I couldn't be sitting in Texas and see my clients in Virginia because they had restrictions around licensure there. So their rule was you had to be licensed in Texas and Virginia to be able to see clients that way. But they've since gotten rid of that rule, and these rules change all the time, but that's a big one that you've got to pay attention to. Internationally, if you're sitting somewhere internationally, you have to check with that country to make sure there's no restrictions. There really aren't any restrictions, but you always want to do your due diligence. Address, like if I want to be full-time digital nomad, what do I do for my address? I have figured that out. I help people figure that out all the time, but basically you need a state where you live. And that could be anywhere. Like mine is Florida. I use my mom's address. I'm registered to vote there. My driver's license goes through there. My health insurance goes through there, but I don't have an address. I just use her address. My business license is through there. And I'm trying to think what else. In Virginia, I have a virtual mailbox that I use for insurance credentialing. So it gets complicated, but these are all things you have to think about. Like, how am I going to get mail from the insurance companies? If I want to be credentialed, how am I going to, make sure I could be credentialed and still see my clients? Because a lot of the insurance companies now are cracking down in their contracts and saying that the therapist needs to be sitting in the state of licensure for 183 days out of the year. So that's another nuance. And, I'm a insurance-based advocate. I really feel strongly about taking insurances that, are good for me to take, that pay well and that sort of thing. But the more and more we get into this and these nuances, it's almost becoming like private pay is better for a lot of traveling therapists that want to be super remote like me and just go all over the place. Yeah.
Yes.
So those are some of the
So you were
nuances.
still accepting insurance at the time that you stopped seeing clients and transition to primarily doing coaching and consulting?
Yes, I still have 2 clients I see, and I take both of their insurances. So it's still okay for me in my state with the insurances that I take. So it's Blue Cross Blue Shield. And there's nothing in the contract right now that I've seen that says that's not okay. But I know Blue Cross Blue Shield is a huge problem for a lot of people in other states because it's, it's state-based. It's not national-based like United Healthcare or Aetna or something like that, or Cigna.
Yeah, that was a great down and dirty overview. And you answered the questions that popped into my head about some of those nuances with insurance. We've got to consider licensure, and we also need to do our due diligence about the place that we are and if there are any restrictions. So
exactly.
I'd love to hear how you started evolving from really leveraging a lot of your clinical skills and obviously sharing what you were doing and learning with other people, and then how that transitioned into 15 income streams.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm a generator. I don't know if you know human design, but I'm a generator, right? So anytime I get an idea, like I've got this hum inside of me, it's like I have to create something around it. So all of my income streams have basically come from a problem I'm having in my life. So my very first one was back in 2008. I made hypnosis apps and put them on the App Store because my clients kept saying over and over, they were like, I love these hypnosis sessions that we're doing. Could I buy them? Could you record them for me? So I was like, oh, ding, ding, ding. So I made apps and put them in the App Store. That was my very first like side hustle. And then insurance billing. I had terrible insurance billers. I was losing a ton of money. I knew nothing about it. It was making me so upset. Finally, I asked for this like report, and I found out that they were like hadn't collected like $12,000. So I was like, I cried. I was so upset. I was like, I've got to do something about this. I've got to learn insurance billing. So I figured it out. And this was in 2018, right around when I went online. And I created a course, and now I have a membership for that, where I've got certified billers in the membership, and they help therapists learn how to bill insurance on their own and all that. So that's how that evolved. And then the traveling therapist, has evolved into a course called the Portable Practice Method, which basically every problem I've ever had and had to solve, I put it in the course and walk people through, like, how do you fix this? And then, I'm obsessed with AI. So that's the other stream I've got going on. I've been obsessed with AI, and the day ChatGPT came out, I was like, this is the future. I mean, this is literally the future. This is going to change everything. So about, I don't know, 3 months after that, I created the Clinical AI Club, which teaches therapists how to run their private practices using AI. Because it was helping me so much in my business, and even with stuff I was doing with clients in my private practice, I was like, I have to teach other therapists how to do this so they don't burn out and just lose their minds, trying to do all this admin stuff and see all these clients, just all that stuff that we barely have time to even pee between clients. I was like, God, if we could bring in AI to do a lot of this stuff, we'd have so much more time and not be burned out. So the Clinical AI Club was born, and that's been around for about 3 years now. We have about 500 members in there, therapists, and we meet and we just really geek out about AI. And every month I put a new module in because it's basically whatever I'm learning, I do a module on it and teach it to them. And then after that came along, just building audiences around this stuff, and companies started to reach out to me. And now I'm the clinical consultant for product development for heyberries.com. I've helped them develop it from day one, and it's, in my opinion, the best AI note taker scribe out there. And we're getting ready to turn that into a full EHR, which I'm super excited about. So that's another income stream. Does that answer your question? I'm just kind of like going out on these branches, but that's how it all evolves.
Answers my question and gives us a lot of insight into how you're spending your time and obviously how you're generating income. But I'm also seeing another theme where you started traveling as a therapist and utilizing virtual sessions before the pandemic, before that was a transition we all had to make. So you almost seem to have this kind of leg up in a sense. But then you also take these pieces of business that for a lot of us can be barriers and aren't really enjoyable and can sometimes be these stumbling blocks, and you make it not only feasible, but fun, like the insurance piece and bringing people together and really empowering therapists to do this on their own, do it right, and avoid a lot of those mistakes and loss of money. But then even with AI, where some people might resist it or really be threatened by it, or also really just caught up in the anxiety around what is this going to mean for our profession, you're leaning in, you're embracing it, and you're really trying to help people use it to enhance the work that they're doing. So is that part of your human design as well, or is that just your nature?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess it is. I do feel a strong calling to be like I've always been sort of outside of the box with things, and I would say innovative, with, kind of on the cutting edge where people are like, you can't do that. I'm like, yeah, you can. Like making hypnosis apps. Like that was the second hypnosis app in the App Store. When the App Store first came out, people were like, you can't do that. And I was like, yeah, I can.
Yeah,
I'm going
another
to.
example.
It was like, don't tell me I can't do it, because I will actually then go do it. Um, and part of this thing is like, it's always evolving. So I'm always sort of changing, like even with the insurance billing, it's really not my passion anymore, but I know it's an important aspect. And so,
Yes.
I've had to figure out ways for me to like not be as involved, but bring in like certified billers to kind of do the back end of the trainings and all of that. So, as this goes on, I evolve into other ideas and things I want to do. And I just try to figure out ways to keep it going, but be able to give myself more space, time, and room to be able to do these other things that become new passions for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. So those that are listening are not going to be surprised by this at all, but I have to ask, do you know your Enneagram number?
I don't. I think it's a 6. What is the 6? I swear I did it many years ago.
I don't know if I see you as a 6. So the 6 is the loyalist. So going out on your own and doing all of these things would be really challenging for a 6, and they get really consumed by their anxiety and worst case scenarios. You seem to blast right through that.
I don't know my Enneagram number.
All right. I'm going to send you a link and I want to know.
Okay. All right. I'll do it.
I love it. So for someone that's listening that is really intrigued and inspired by what you have done, obviously you offer so many resources and guidance for people to learn from you. But what are some of the biggest takeaways that you have from the last few years of your life to really show people that this is possible, and any stories that you have about maybe some things that didn't go so well that you continued to persevere and it wasn't enough of a stumbling block for you, things you wish that you knew before you took off?
Oh my God. This could take us like 17 hours probably. There's so
everyone should listen to your podcast, because I'm sure you talk a lot about this there.
I do. Yeah, there's been a lot of problems. There's so many different ways to go with this. Probably the biggest thing is that I didn't hire help fast enough to help me. Trying to do everything on my own, trying to learn like Canva designs for social media, like spending hours and hours, like just trying to do stuff like that. That's just not in my like zone of genius, like I'm a creator. I need people that are going to build like my systems in the back end. So now I have a business manager. I've got a podcast editor. I've got a virtual assistant. I've just got so much more help now that just and the billers and the Bill Like a Boss, I couldn't do that without them. So hiring help to help me was my biggest mistake. Waiting to hire help was my biggest mistake. I mean, I did it all for a very long time. And, what I didn't realize is, it costs money on the front end, but what happens is you can scale a lot faster with these things you want to do. If you have people like doing all this stuff in the background that I'm just not good at, like setting up sales funnels. Like I'm not good at that. Copywriting, I'm not good at that, so I've hired people to help me. Yeah.
That cannot be said enough. And I think for those that are listening that are in that place that maybe you and I were both in, it sounds like earlier in our careers, where maybe a lot of those things popped up for us, like, can you really find somebody that you trust? And can I really afford this? And is it really going to help in the ways that people say it is? We both can emphatically say, do it, don't wait. And even if you make a wrong hire or it doesn't work, you get better at selecting the right people and moving forward quicker. And it is really helpful when you know all the ropes, you've taught yourself, you've learned. So if you need to step in for a period of time until you do find that right person, right? Everything can still keep moving.
Yep, exactly. So. And I mean, on that note, another problem I've had is not firing fast enough, because I like love to give people like 20 chances. And, even my boyfriend will be like, seriously, you're still complaining about that person? Like, why have you not fired them? I'm like, well, and it's bit me every time.
So my guess on your Enneagram is a 7. And now we have this recorded for proof. Well, so let's see if I'm right.
Okay.
So I can't avoid asking about marketing, because with
Mm-hmm.
15 income streams and you're training as a therapist, this is obviously an area where we can't avoid in this day
Yeah.
and age marketing, even those of us that are insurance-based practitioners that
Yeah.
maybe at a prior time did not have to invest a lot of time and energy in marketing, have to now.
Yeah.
So I would
Yeah.
love to hear, what are the avenues that have really worked with you to ensure that these income streams are really revenue generating and creating profit? Because there are so many different avenues that we could take. And I feel like for me, it's not necessarily one avenue being better than the other. It's really
Mm-hmm.
about what are those avenues that we could take that are in alignment, that make sense for our business, where we can find the people we're looking for. So I love hearing the specifics on that. What's worked for you?
Yeah.
The
I
best.
mean, Facebook groups. I have 8
Mhm.
Facebook groups, yeah, which I know sounds crazy, but in total, these 8 groups, I think I have probably 75,000 subscribers. And when they come into the group, I ask for their email address. And, obviously I put them right onto a newsletter, not a funnel I set up, a funnel somebody else has set up for me. Put them onto a newsletter and they get, a nurture sequence. And then, it's that 80-20 rule that you hear a lot about, like give 80%, sell 20%, that kind of thing. So I give a lot of just free help content, it's sending out emails with free like freebies and things that can help people. And then, occasionally I'll send some sales emails and it works, because I have products that go along with what the audience wants. I know what their pain points are. And then we have the Facebook group, which is, on Facebook groups, they're just so nurturing. There's so many opportunities in there to say, if somebody's like, gosh, can I practice in Texas as a LCSW in Virginia? It's like, no, you can't, but now you can, and here's this little bit of information I have about that. Like being able to nurture like that is really helpful. Or in my free AI Facebook group, somebody's like, how do I automate this? I'm like, oh, okay, Zapier, go to Zapier, do this, and this. I could just give a lot of nurturing in real time there, and then pop in like my new Thera AI hub that just launched. I was able to pop that into the AI group, and I mean, people love it, right? They're like, okay, we love all the help you give. Now let's go buy this product because I know it's going to be good and helpful and I trust you. It's that trust factor that you develop over time with, people that want to buy from you, whether it's clients that want to come work with you or,
Mhm.
like people that want to buy products from you. Yeah.
That's
So
brilliant.
Facebook
I
groups.
appreciate you sharing that. And it makes so much sense that that would be something that has worked. But I think it's also helpful for people to know we don't want to compare where you're at to someone's day one. It takes time to build those audiences,
Yeah.
nurture them, create the funnel. You had someone help with that. But it's so nice to see how all of that effort has really been beneficial in the long run.
Yeah, it really has. And the other thing is my podcast. I mean, I have 2 podcasts, and
Mhm.
almost every day somebody will say in one of my groups, like, I heard this on your podcast, so it's like an organic lead magnet that's super helpful. And, people, the SEO on podcasts is amazing. Like it's everywhere, so somebody types in traveling therapist, they're going to find, all these episodes of the traveling therapist that I've done. And then my AI podcast, and then Barry's, we just launched a podcast. Actually, there's 3 podcasts now, but they are great for marketing. Yeah.
That's incredible. So I also have to ask, with all of these income streams, all of these different avenues, with the podcast, all the different ways you're helping people, plus you're traveling. So what are your strategies for structuring your schedule and being productive? Do you have set days for set things? Do you time block? What has helped you in that regard?
Yeah, so I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the mornings, because a lot of times with our Airbnbs, we try to, move out either like, Monday through, yeah, Monday, Saturday, Sunday, or Fridays are the days we try to move around. So we try to keep those 2 moving days. And then those Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are work days, and we only work in the mornings. Which is why, I mean, this podcast, you had, your schedule was in the afternoons, and I was like, can we do
Yes.
it in the morning? Because I'm always trying to like protect that box of
Mm-hmm.
those mornings and work during that time. So I had time to go do whatever I want to do later in the day. Like later today, there's a massage therapist company that comes to your Airbnb. So I've ordered them and they're coming later today and they're going to do it out on the patio by the pool, that kind of thing. So I like really preserve these afternoons and Mondays and Fridays to not work. Yeah.
I
So that's
love
my
that.
strategy.
So that's another piece that I think is really helpful to highlight for those listening. They
Yeah.
hear you describe this, and for some, maybe they're thinking, okay, I don't know if I could ever live like that. That's not for me. And then I'm
Yeah.
sure there are other people that are intrigued. And then there's another group that are like, okay, how did she do this? So you talked about the progression and how it built and what the last few years look like. But for those that are maybe thinking, how could I ever make this a reality? Any suggestions that you have maybe on the financial side of things, anything that you did that really helped catapult you to be at a point where you can structure your time in the way that you do that's really conducive for you and still supports your lifestyle?
Yeah, I mean, I think first it was deciding the lifestyle I wanted to live. In the portable practice method, I'm very heavy on that. Like the beginning modules are like, let's get very clear on what you want your life to look like. Do you want to be somebody like me that's fully nomadic and moves every 2 weeks? Or do you want to be somebody that slow travels or somebody that just like stays home and goes for a month and comes back and doesn't work at all? Like there's really different ways to look at where you want to be, but figuring that out and then building around it. So I mean, I knew I just didn't really want to see clients anymore. Like after 25 years, I was like, I'm kind of over it, So I was like, I want to put all my energy into building these audiences. So I can get sponsorships and people that are just paying me basically to advertise these great products, and I can work less. So, I had this vision: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, travel all the other times, in the afternoons, be able to like explore these places where I'm traveling. And then once I blocked it, it's like, okay, how am I going to make it work? How am I going to bring enough money in that I can just do this and just spend this much time working and be able to do all this other stuff? And then once I had that vision, that kind of guides everything I'm doing. It's like, oh, could I put another product out there that people are asking for? Yeah, I could, especially with AI. I could easily write another course and like market it to this audience that I've built, that kind of thing. So it kind of starts with the vision. Like, what do you want your life? Do you want to see clients? If you don't want to see clients anymore, or you want to see less clients, like let's talk about scaling to a digital product or a course or something that could bring other income in to help you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I really appreciate you going through that. That's so helpful, because even if someone is intrigued by this, there are still a lot of different lanes that they could go. And it could be to the extent that it is for you, but even from there are a lot of different variations. So if somebody wanted to work with you one-on-one, it sounds like you offer a lot of different opportunities for them to learn, and your courses and your podcast. But do you work with people on a consulting basis one-on-one? And what does that look like? Or is it more group?
It's everything. I do a lot less like private coaching now than I used to. But right now I've got something I'm calling the AI powered private practice intensive that I'm doing with just a few coaching clients at a time. It's a like 60-day container. Basically, you come to me and tell me all your problems, and I figure out how AI is going to be the solution for you. And we spend the rest of the time figuring out how to implement all these AI tools into your life, basically, so you get your time and your life back, is what I'm doing right now. The Clinical AI Club, we do have 2 90-minute coaching hours every single month that people can come into live, and we just kind of geek out about AI and that sort of thing. Bill Like a Boss, I used to be in there, but I'm not in there anymore. Now the billers do like live coaching once a week with the members inside of there. And what else do I do? I'm trying to think. And then, I'll do some like 15-minute kind of consulting things with people that are like stuck and they don't know where to go. That's basically just a guidance into one of my courses. Like, here's the portable practice method. Here's the AI club. Here's the Bill Like a Boss, if you want one of these. So that's kind of how I've got it structured right now. Cause I don't really want to do a lot of like one-to-one stuff anymore, cause it takes up too much time, that kind of thing.
Definitely. And a lot of energy. Well, I love everything that you are doing. I think you've really shed some light on how this can be possible and how you've achieved success with it and really created something that fits for you, which is so inspiring for those listening.
Thank you. Yeah. I hope it helps. I hope it helps.
It definitely did. So
I
is there
think
anything that you want to leave us all with, kind of a final thought that anybody out there would appreciate, kind of looking back on everything that you've done and what you currently have going on that you think would be helpful?
I mean, I would just say like take a good look at your life and see if it's the life you want to be living. If there's some like secret whisper in there, like I wish I could be in Paris, like like 6 months out of the year or something. Like go for it. I mean, life.
Mm,
It's such a cliche, but life is so short. It's like I look at my father who recently has been put in assisted living, and it's like he never did any of the things he wanted to do in his life. He just worked and waited for retirement, and now he can't do it because physically he can't, mentally he can't. So it's like,
yeah.
just don't waste, just do it. It's totally like literally anything you want to do, there's a way to do it.
Yeah.
You just have to get creative and figure out how to do it, really. Yeah.
Well, you're a phenomenal example of that. Thank you so much for all you shared today on the show and for inspiring all of us to take that action and really experience the world.
Thank you.
If you like what you're hearing, please rate and review. This will help others find us and benefit as well. The Compassionate Climb podcast represents the opinions of Julia Napini and her guests. The information provided is intended for educational purposes only and should not be taken as legal advice. If that is what you are seeking, please consult an attorney.